Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to News Talk. News Talk on ABS. It's always a privilege to come to you with updates from the Federal Republic of Ambazonian and, of course, all of the continent of Africa. Thanks for tuning in, especially those of you who are joining from where we call Ground Zero and from all over the diaspora. We bring you here on News Talk. What is happening? What is happening in the war declared against the southern Cameroon Ambazonian since 2016 by the regime of Paul Biya in Cameroon? And tonight, I bring you what is going on within the corridors of power inside Yaoundé. Why did Cameroon make a 360-degree turnaround to say they did not contract with Canada nor with their own prime minister to negotiate this conflict? And of course, I'm also going to bring to you negotiations in the background for one and indivisible team Ambazonia to take us onto that negotiation table if and when La République du Cameroon decides to come to the table. At least now we also know who is running away. Who is running away, ladies and gentlemen, from the talks? It is not Ambazonia, it is La République du Cameroon, and we are going to do justice in dividing this truth tonight. Please, as usual, I expect you to go ahead, hit your share button, and let us get the platform completely saturated. Let's get the platform completely saturated. I have an exciting guests tonight that are going to do justice in the rightly dividing the truth or falsehood, whatever it is that is emanating out of Cameroon. We're also going to take a look at the Swiss initiative, or the Canadian initiative, or to call it the Canadian process. We're going to look at what we can make out of it. Our guest will be here. I will be joined by Chief Osisiko, Dr. Ebini Christmas, also with Barrister Martin Tumasang and Dr. Fidelis Atianjo. They will all be joining me eventually in the course of the show. Please, again, let's go ahead and hit the share button. If you are just joining, do me the favor, for those of you watching by way of Facebook, go ahead, send the link to every group of yours and let them know the anchor man is not live. He is alive, strong and kicking. Please do that quickly, and let me wait a few minutes to bring you some announcement before I get into the show proper. I'd like you all to know on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, we are appealing to all Ambazonians, every Ambazonian. It doesn't matter the column in which you find yourself. We are appealing to all Ambazonians to show up on Sunday through Zoom and ABS television. We are hosting a one-of-a-kind fundraiser to support our suffering and struggling people on the ground in Ambazonia. It is not about where you belong, the group you belong to, because this is not about groups. It is about Ambazonia. We are appealing to you. Please join us on Sunday. If it is $50, if it is $10, if it is $1,000, it will add up and give us what we need to put in the hands of people who are sacrificing their lives on ground zero to defend and to free the country we now call today Ambazonia. Again, that event is coming up on Sunday, and please, every one of you, make sure that you plan. I know many of you are going to church on Sunday, but this event is not for 1 hour. It will start at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Amber. That is 1 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Texas, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Washington, D.C. time, California time, I don't remember, Mountain Time, I don't remember, but ladies and gentlemen, that is what is coming up on Sunday. By coming together, putting funds together to support Ground Zero, we would have sent a strong message to La République du Cameroon. Ambazonian is finally beginning to speak with one voice, one people, one power. So again, please let us galvanize our LGAs, our counties, our countries, and our regions, our families. Please, your $1, $10, $50, $100, $500, whatever you are capable of contributing on Sunday will add up to something to fund our defenders on the ground. Again, it is Sunday, this coming Sunday. It was first scheduled for Friday. We'll move it to Sunday to make sure that everybody can be accommodated. So please, do not say you are not a member or supporter of the interim government. You are not supporting the interim government by giving. You are supporting Ambazonian, the struggle for a free and independent Southern Cameroon. Let me assure you, this interim government is not the interim government of 2019, 2018, where you had my trip to Boya, 2019, 2021 with all the drafts. This is a new interim government that puts your money where you want it to be. We put your money where you want to see it to be. And we are damn resolved in making sure that we do that. So please, I encourage you, let us all show up on the Sunday. Gather on Sunday through Zoom. I guess the link will be out. And the payment options are already making the rounds also in the social media. Please, people are beginning to send in their money. I remember somebody called me yesterday and said, Comrade Chris, I am putting in $1,000. That lady sent that money from California. This is not propaganda place. The money came in from California, and the lady I'm talking about knows herself. We have a club of 20 people, ladies and gentlemen, a club of 20 people that we are hoping those 20 people can give us $1,000 each. Our target on Sunday is $100,000. $100,000 on Sunday. So we are looking for at least 20 people who will join the club of $1,000 donors. $1,000 donors between now and Sunday. If you want to say, Comrade Chris, I believe in what you are doing, I trust you in what you are doing, you want to join the club of 1,000, please, I urge you, call me directly. I shall be putting the phone number. Of course, I'm going to be taking your calls today, and the phone number will be on the screen. You can call that number when I put it up. Call me afterward to tell me you want to join the club of 1,000, or you can call me live when I put up the phone number to let me know that. Please, we need 20 Ambazonians, just 20 Ambazonians who will say, Comrade Chris, I am joining the club of $1,000. 20 people who will give $1,000 to free Ambazonia. I wish that I can sit here and explain to you the plans we have for Ground Zero, comrades. I wish I could do that. But of course, you know, I cannot discuss or expose the classified here on television. But for those of you who will be able to say, Comrade Chris, I am putting down $1,000, you will have the privilege to talk to me to understand what we plan in the days ahead. We must never let La République du Cameroon feel like we are getting tired, either fighting or giving. If we don't fight, we don't win. We don't fight, we don't win. And as I said last Monday, we do not surrender until we have won. Victory has to come, and we will continue to sacrifice. Last week I was talking to a Somaliland politician in Washington, D.C., and he said to me, the way they succeeded in freeing their territory was getting every Somalilander in the diaspora to contribute monthly to the struggle. Remember, they had their interim government based in Ethiopia, and they were so organized. Every Somalilander was making a contribution, especially those in the United States and in Europe. They were all making contributions. And so we have to do it. Remember, we have also launched amberdeals.com. amberdeals.com. We are pleading to every Ambazonian, considering the moment in which we are in this struggle. Nothing will stop us but money. Nothing will hinder us or delay us but the lack of flow of funds. And so we have put up our website, amberdeals.com. We encourage every Ambazonian, please log on to the website. You can chip in, you can choose to chip in $10, $20, $25, $50, $100, depending on your means, on the monthly basis. We have developed that website. What we used to call CID is no longer there. If you are still paying money on a CID platform, I'd like you to know that money does not go into the National Treasury of Ambazonia. That money is going into private pockets. But when you go to amberdeals.com and enroll for your monthly contribution of either $10, $25, $50, $100 or more, those funds go directly into the National Treasury of Ambazonia, and you can believe that that money gets on ground zero. So these are the two options we have put together, amberdeals.com and the launch this Sunday of our fundraisers. After we launch the fundraisers this Sunday, in the coming months, we shall be taking off with the county draft. We will go county by county as we have done in the past. Your county will draft, your LGA will draft, every region or county in Ambazonia will draft. But we haven't scheduled a date yet. It shall be coming up really soon, a few months after this launch on Sunday. So ladies and gentlemen, that is what lies ahead. We plead that you will all mobilize in your LGA on Sunday. On Sunday, we shall go LGA by LGA, and every LGA will tell Ambazonians what they have contributed towards this launch. County by county, each county will put on table what they have contributed towards this launch. So that is what lies ahead, and we expect you to reach out to every Ambazonian, every group out there, to mobilize, ladies and gentlemen, before Sunday. I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put there. As you must have heard or seen over the week, 72 hours after the Canadians put out a statement indicating their intention to host the peace process between La République du Cameroon and Ambazonian. And just 12 hours after, the interim government came out and supported the Canadian initiative. Cameroon put out a statement, ladies and gentlemen, rejecting, but not just rejecting, indicating they have never contracted with anybody to negotiate between them and Ambazonian. What went on? What happened? When we first received briefings and invitations for the Canadian pre-talks, we were made to understand that the initiative was the effort of Cameroon's Prime Minister Dion Ngute after consultations, approval, and firm backing of Mr. Paul Biya, their president. Mr. Biya and PM Dion Ngute did not only agree on the mission, the Canadian mission, both equally agreed on who will facilitate the mission. Canada was going to be the country to make it to happen. The reason why Cameroon pulled out of the Swiss process. ABS was told that both Mr. Paul Biya and his Prime Minister Dion Ngute were agreed that a military solution to the conflict is nowhere in sight, that Cameroon was running out of funding, and that people are being killed in the thousands. The international community, it is said, wasn't going to sit idle and see Cameroon just pulled out of the Swiss process without alternative solutions to a settlement process. Based on this, Biya and Mr. Dion Ngute agreed that Ngute carry out consultations with the Canadian government to take up the initiative. Canada accepted, carried out consultations with Ambazonian stakeholders, and summoned the controversial pre-talks. The pre-talks led to the announcement last week of a formal negotiation process by the Canadian Foreign Minister. Here at the interim government of Ambazonian, we came out and endorsed the process, promising, unlike in the past, to engage the process. However, not up to 72 hours after the Canadian statement and barely 12 hours after this interim government promised to participate in the process, Cameroon leaders made a 360-degree about turn. In a statement issued by the Communication Minister, René Emmanuel Sadi, Cameroon totally denied, ladies and gentlemen, that they know of anything as a Canadian process, adding that at no time have they engaged any internal or foreign parties to mediate the conflict. Interpreted, this statement basically suggests that their Prime Minister, being the internal party here, and Canada, the external entity, were never instructed by their government or the government of Cameroon to initiate the process. Both the Prime Minister and the Canadians were essentially or are essentially thrown under the bus. This notwithstanding, after the Canadians issued the statement announcing the formal process, the Prime Minister's office alone went to work last Monday. His staff met in a conference trying to figure out how to manage the internal communication process for their own end. Mr. Dion Ngute, we are told, has audience with Paul Biya every Friday to brief him on the state of the government, that is, the Cameroon government. But because of the importance of the Canadian statement, Dion Ngute didn't want to wait till Friday to meet with Paul Biya. This was a matter of emergency, urgency. And so the meeting in his office on Monday, last Monday, had prepared a communication to the presidency on how he plans to communicate the Canadian process. And then he forwarded it by courier. He forwarded the communication to the presidency by courier. That was again on Monday. After Paul Biya or the president receives and approves of the communication plan from the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister, Dion Ngute, was then to hold a meeting with Rene Emmanuel Sadi, the Communication Minister, after which Sadi will then go out to formally acknowledge the Canadian process. But little did Dion Ngute know, he was acting all alone, on his own. Sources in Yaoundé have told ABS that once at the presidency, the communication from the PM was intercepted by presidential staff loyal to Ferdinand Ngo. Furious that the Prime Minister Ngute was endorsing the Canadian process, Ngo confiscated the communication, the courier, and then hastily summoned a meeting with Rene Sadi, Paul Atanga, Felix Mbayu, and a few others, from which they crafted or drafted the communication that was read on radio and television in Cameroon, debunking the existence of the Canadian process. Our sources say that, of course, they were aware that the Prime Minister was following up the Canadian process. Ngo knew that. But what surprised them and led to the action they took last Monday was the fact that Ambazonian groups, particularly this interim government, threw support behind the process, the Canadian process, and a firm participation in it. Our source said, and I quote, none of them ever believed that Ambazonia, so known for their divisions and competition, will accept to talk unconditionally anywhere with the Cameroon government, end of quote. The source added that Ngo, Atanga Nji, Mbayu Felix, and Rene Sadi do not want the war to be over. They don't want the war to end because it provides them money, power, and prestige. They are where they are because the war is going on. And the man who wants to spoil their business is Dion Ngute, and end of quote, our source said. When Dion Ngute sent his plan, the communication, to Itudi, the presidency, at around 1 p.m. on Monday, it was intercepted by Ngo's men. Immediately, Ngo and his group went to work to prepare a new and a countermeasure that will end the project and prepare their own. At around 7 p.m. on Monday, theirs was being read on radio and television. And the PM, the Prime Minister Dion Ngute, we are told, was never informed. Dion Ngute is said to have met with Paul Biya today. We are yet to know about the outcome of that meeting. Two things are obvious here. Number one, Cameroon is more divided than Ambazonia. Come to think of that, Cameroon in North Ambazonia is running away from dialogue. But more importantly, the $1 million question is, what is the international community going to do? Just ignore the intransigence of Cameroon, even as their soldiers kill and maim and decimate towns and villages in the southern Cameroons? The international community should stop talking and begin to act. Ukrainians are no more important human beings than southern Cameroonians. We are being killed in our thousands, but all the money and the ammunition go to Ukraine. When it concerns Ukraine, the international community sends money and arms. But when it concerns Ambazonian, black people in Africa, I believe they say, let them kill themselves. We don't care, I guess, is the attitude. Talking about the highest form of hypocrisy, maybe. And that is my talking point on the subject of the Canadian process. I am now being joined, ladies and gentlemen, again by Sisiko Christmas Ebony and Barrister Martin Tumasang. Sisiko, sir, it's a privilege to have you on News Talk for the first time.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. We are here. Let me just take this opportunity to convey to you our sense of humanity. I know that we've been having a lot of disruption, that we did not take time to tell you, Ashia, for the multiple challenges you've had in your family, the death of your brother and your dear wife. So on behalf of our good-natured Ambazonian culture, I say our condolences, and we pray that you've gone through the period. You're a strong man. You're handling things well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we are also being joined by a regular guest on this show, Barrister Martin Tumasang. It's a pleasure to have you again, sir. Unfortunately, I think your camera kind of disfigures you there a little bit, but we're gonna manage that. Good to have you, sir.
Good evening, Secretary Chris, and happy to join you again today.
Thank you. Sisiko Ebene, I am going to start with you, sir. You have been one of the stakeholders from day number one in this struggle, and you have done a lot, so much so from the background, though, something that a lot of people are not able to understand. You've done a lot of fundraising, talking to a lot of leaders from the background. Now, we have something here that looks like a window of opportunity. Number one, for a negotiated process. And number two, and what I consider an opportunity for all Ambazonian leaders to come together. But let me ask you this. What do you make of the sudden turnaround by a lot of people to Cameroon to say, do not just say we don't want to discuss, but that they never contracted Canada, nor their own prime minister, to go out negotiating for this? What do you make of that, sir?
Comrade Chris, I don't know. Are we live here?
We're live.
And you assure us that this thing, you're not going to cut it, everything is going to go to the people, what we have to say here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's get serious here. I am very glad. I listened very keenly to your opening statements, and I got a ray of light in it, because we as Ambazonians, we've been in a dark place. And I'm very impressed. If I'm here even on your channel talking to you, is because we yearn for something amongst us that we have lost. I don't want us to waste time. I know my brother Martin Tumasang is there, man of big grammar. It is time we'll pass that time of grammar. Let's talk on the serious issues that concerns us. I don't even care about second-guessing La République du Cameroon on the Canadian issue. All I get from what La République is doing now, the Canadian issue, is that it vindicates the people whom we talked negatively about and said there was no Swiss process. The only thing is that
You
the
mean
Canadians did
yes?
us a great favor. They did us a great favor that they put out an official statement as proof that everybody could see. A statement that was embraced by the whole world, the Pope, and other people. The only thing that was missing in the Canadian process is that the Swiss process, is that we had our brothers whom we did not trust, who also were not acting very well towards us, who also were a little bit
Let's set the record
arrogant.
straight. Are you referring to the Canadian process or the Swiss process?
I am referring to the Canadian process,
Okay.
and also trying to also, including myself, to say that I take away the doubt that I had towards my brothers, saying that there was no Swiss process. Certainly, this vindicates the people who went to Switzerland to seek peace on the side of Ambazonians, but the way it went about, we did not have enough information to even see the footprints and the fingerprints of La République. So the Canadians have done us this favor, and a big favor, because of the Canadian process.
Well,
I am here
comrade, hold
talking
on
to
there,
you.
hold on there. I think you are missing something in your analysis. You cannot say that there was no evidence that Cameroon was with the Swiss, because you remember, if Cameroon wasn't with the Swiss, Cameroon wouldn't have issued a statement saying we are out of Swiss in the first place, isn't it?
I don't know. Did we see that? We only saw a statement that said that they did not endorse any Swiss process.
Well,
We did not.
as we've seen one that says they didn't contract with anyone to negotiate in Canada.
Comrade Chris, if we are here talking even very positively about the Canadian process, is because the single letter from a Canadian minister, foreign minister, from a government, placed us on the world stage that the Swiss did not do. We did not see such a letter from the Swiss government. We see this now. And me, as an honest man, who really spat on my brothers who went to Switzerland, now I can say that they probably were telling the truth that there was that process. No, not probably. They were telling the truth that there was that process, that Cameroon was in Swiss before it was not. Like Cameroon is in Switzerland, then now it is trying to say it is not. So that is what I'm trying to say.
I will let Barrister Tumasang come in here and give us his perspective on this. Barrister Tumasang, please come into this conversation, please.
Secretary Chris, I think we've been here before. We have seen in Cameroon where a team came and monitored elections, signed documents that the elections were free and fair, that they came from Amnesty International. At the end of the whole election, the process, Amnesty International said, we don't know these people. We don't know who these white people were who were there and signed all those documents on our behalf. It's the same thing La République is doing. La République, some people came from La République, maybe they are friends to a certain prime minister there. They arrived in Canada. They said they're talking on behalf of La République. First of all, in international law, prime minister has no power to bind the state of La République. The state of La République in international law can be bound by the minister and can be bound by the president or head of state. What that John Gute sends, if those people came, I'm sure Professor Anyangwe was there to make sure that those people can bind the state of La République. He would have asked for a document from them. So where is your full powers documents signed by the foreign minister or signed by the president? Those people came there, they had no document, they had no powers. Yes, they are from Cameroon, maybe they are friends with some prime minister. What authority has this prime minister got to deal with this issue? Zero authority. So I don't even think that those people are there. Cameroon was there. Cameroon is correct to say that we have not mandated anybody. Can they show statement from the foreign minister of Cameroon? Can they show me any statement from the president? When the foreign minister of Canada talks in international law, he binds the state of Canada. When the president or prime minister of Canada, who is the head of the talks, these guys who came to talk in Canada, how do I know they are even from Cameroon? I know they are friends to John Gute. John Gute has no powers. So I'm not even interested in what those guys did. So it's embarrassing in diplomacy that Cameroon sent some people, came and disowned them. But in international law, Cameroon has that right. We don't know these people. Our foreign minister never gave them full powers documents. Our president never gave them full powers document. In the international plane, they cannot bind us. Those people are some low-level people sent from a certain prime minister from Tian. They cannot be bothered. It's embarrassing to Canada. Why did Canada not ask for the right papers?
Comrade, we were told at the beginning of these Canadian pre-talks that the person who initiated these talks was the Prime Minister in consultation and with the backing of Paul Biya. This is what the Canadians told us. So how then can we turn around to say the delegation that went to Canada was not properly backed up by the Cameroon government? Are you saying that the Prime Minister did not have the powers to appoint people to represent his country?
I'm repeating the same thing. He has no powers, Chris. In the international scene, even the head of the parliament cannot go in international law and bind the state of Cameroon. If the person in the international scene is the president and the foreign minister that can bound that state. It is only in specialized areas. For example, the Minister of Health in a case in International Court of Justice, they've said that he can, because the issue was so technical, they can accept him that he bound the state which was involved. Otherwise, he does powers. Whatever he said means nothing. So, and then secondly, Chris, even our reaction, when the foreign minister talks, if we think that we are people, you don't go on Twitter talking, you don't go on Facebook. You have to send something in international law and in international diplomacy. They call it note verbal. So Ambazonian was to send a note verbal to the Canadian government to state its position. In the International Court of Justice, a non-verbal has been accepted as notification for this thing. And if you make a statement in the international organizations like in the UN General Assembly or other international organizations, that evidence has been accepted. We are there talking on Twitter, talking on this. The only person who wrote to a note verbal to the Canadian foreign minister was Republic of Ambazonia, and it is there. I'm not. I saw the letter, so I'm not at liberty to discuss the content. But at least he did it properly. A state, you send a note verbal to the foreign minister, he's bound his state. So you do it the way it is done in international law. You don't go talking in Twitter. Social media is not accepted as evidence in International Court of Justice. So what we are doing here might not even too much value. I don't want to be going into the technicalities. We should get experts to be involved in these things, not anybody going a Twitter.
We will get to the aspect of experts. But I guess again, you are insinuating that Cameroon's prime minister did not have the standing to represent or send representation for Cameroon to Canada, which you are using that to justify. You are using that to justify the letter of Ngongo and Rene Sadi.
In international law, they are correct that Cameroon, the state of Cameroon, has not mandated anybody. This thing was mandated by some people. When those guys came to Canada, they should have brought a document from the foreign minister or the president called in international law full powers document to say that what we are doing here, we are signing it on behalf of the state of the Republic of Cameroon. Did they have such a document? Prime Minister, they don't know that we have it then. International law does not know this prime minister. They know the foreign minister who binds a state. They know the president that binds a state. This other, the head of parliament, the prime minister, those are subnational people. They can talk what they are talking about.
What is your take on this?
I think this is what I was trying for us to avoid. For us to spend time squander opportunities to be discussing all these things at empty intellectual levels. let us look at our own house. We have been given an opportunity that Martin is here and I am here, and we are on a Chris Anu platform talking. Is a seed that we are trying to plant to reverse all the nuances and the problems we've been having in-house. Because to tell you the truth, even if Cameroon did not withdraw or it stayed, we would have been having a lot of problems even with our own participation in Canada. So let us use this step back as an opportunity to talk on serious issue. I don't want to spend my time to speculate what Dr. Tumazang is saying is correct, where everything else is equal. In the setup of Cameroon, everything else is not equal. Frank Biya can even do things in the name of Cameroon if they choose to. Those things happen in that country. You are saying that you are a man of international law at the academic levels and other levels. But you too would agree with me that the norm is not in Cameroon. Cameroon did go to Canada. In how they got there, it's not my concern. But they did go there. If they did not go there, the Canadian government would have not sat together and even ridicule itself by making the public statement that they made. You and Martin don't know what they took to Canada. Even our own people have not disclosed to us even the agreement that all the parties signed. We don't have that yet. The only thing that makes this thing look even authentic is the fact that there is a letter that gives us information that a sovereign nation under its governmental official is telling us the world that they have stepped in to try to help bring peace to Cameroon. And they tell us in the letter that both parties have committed to it. It took 3 days or more than 3 days for us to hear. It took about a day after that for us to hear from the Pope. We heard from the U.S. Embassy in Cameroon. We heard from other people. But it took 3 days for a rogue minister in Cameroon to put out a statement. So, as much as I agree with what you may be saying on a theoretical, written international law or whatever diplomacy level, everything is not equal in Cameroon in its dealings at every level. And we cannot give them such huge benefit of doubt. I know that whether the Prime Minister has power or not, he would not dare to step out to do what he's doing about this process outside of the country if he did not have some kind of validation within the system from a very high level.
Comrade Sisiko, I have no doubt that the Prime Minister had the blessings of Paul Biya to go to Canada. He wouldn't go in the first place. I mean, we all know how they operate in that country. But then, looking at what has happened, what do you make? What do you make of the role and the position of that Prime Minister in that country? He is not in charge, isn't it? Because if Biya does not turn around, I learned you were supposed to meet with Paul Biya today. If he meets with Paul Biya and Biya doesn't turn around to say, hey, to say to Ngongo, why did you do that? I had put my stamp of approval on it. Why would you? If you don't do that, that tells you that Dion Gautier is merely a caricature there, isn't it?
The only powers that the Cameroon Prime Minister ever had, and I'm saying this since from 1961, the only power that the Prime Minister only had was then that we had a guaranteed constitution, and that power was that it was lying next in transition by the constitution. When Paul Biya was Prime Minister, what power did he show? There was no power. Ahidjo was doing everything. Ahidjo told him what to do. He did not have powers that he could go and make decisions on his own. John Gute could not go to Canada if he did not get the blessing from the top.
All right. Thank you. Let's get on to another issue in this same subject of Cameroon press statement. Barrister Martin, when we had the Swiss initiative, the international community, they all jump on board and say, we are behind it. We heard from the United Nations. In fact, we here at the interim government held quite a number of meetings with the United Nations representative, especially the Africa, what do they call their African office. We heard from the Americans. We are behind it. The British, the Germans, the EU, the Commonwealth. They all said we are behind the Swiss process. Until Paul Biya jumps out, and then in a few weeks after they put on the Canadian initiative, now we are all seeing letters. You see the Americans. You see everybody saying we are here supporting the Canadian process. But just as they did with the Swiss process, they've done the same thing now with the Canadian process. They've just jumped out. What should the international community do now? Just sit and continue to watch and jump to whatever position Cameroon jump into? What should we do? What should they be doing? What are the expectations from them?
Secretary Chris, I think all this is deja vu. When the Swiss process was going on and all these guys were jumping up and down and coming, I came out and made a statement when somebody said the Swiss process is dead. I came out and said the Swiss process is not dead because it never existed. That a process of mediation only exists when two parties are committed. I have not seen any commitment in written form from La République du Cameroon. Who have made odious and castigated me. If one castigated me, I maintain my point that without that commitment, seeing it from La République, he would dilly-dally this thing, make it dilatory. Towards the end, he will say, I never endorsed this thing, the thing is over. We lost 3-4 years. I said it before. The same thing where even Ayaba at that time said that we should get a commitment.
Comrade, I would beg to disagree with you there because, I mean, I cannot sit here and just hear you say the Swiss process did not exist because I was there. If you say the Swiss process went unnecessarily long without recommitment from Cameroon, I will agree with you, but to say it did not exist, no, it existed. We had meetings. There were emissaries sent to Cameroon. They met with the Cameroon side. We received reports. The same emissaries were sent to us. We had meetings with them. There were reports sent out. So I don't think it's a fact to say the Swiss process did not exist. It existed, but I think just as we know in Cameroon, there was never a commitment.
Secretary, please, I accept what you are saying. You are correct. I accept what you are saying. You have your meetings with HD, meetings with some other people. I don't remember you having meeting with La République du Cameroon in that Switzerland. Secondly, have 1,000 meetings with HD, have 1,000 meetings even with Swiss government. So far as in law, a mediation is birth only when two parties commit to it. That is when a comes into being. You had some games, you had some meetings and the rest. It was not mediation. It had not started. From the day you committed, yes, you guys committed. With the day La République commit, that's the day the process is birthed. You had some meetings, people. So what I used to call is a potential process. It is not yet the actual process. Until the two commitments are on the table, Chris, let's not be going into technicalities. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you, but the question now is with this, Sisiko, hold on, please. The question I ask is, what do we expect the international community to do, considering that Cameroon is jumping in from each of these engagements?
Secretary Chris, to answer you on that point, I will tell you what I've told people again. There is nowhere in the world where Cameroon will go negotiating and negotiate our independence and accept, because a mediation is consensual to accept that we should go away. Zero. We are going into a negotiation to as strong a fight as we can. This will take 5 years, 3 years. So La Republic will keep failing. As we started, this is just the first failure. We'll have like 10 or 20. It will reach a point where the international community will be fed up with both us and La Republic and say these two parties talk to stay together. So let's consider the option of them divorcing. We tried everything for them to agree and stay together. They can. The international community, in their mind, they still have it that we can talk and stay together. Yes, the federation was destroyed in 1972. Yes, they even annexed and colonized us. Yes, this, that, that. But today, can you guys talk and fix these things? That's the mindset of Canada, of America, and everybody. Until they know that we've done everything in negotiations and failed, they will not move to the mindset of says everybody should go away. So these failures, I'm expecting them, and I'm expecting more. We'll fail like 10 times in this thing until everybody will know these two guys are totally two different people. They can't live together. Let everybody go their way.
Sisiko, what do you expect the international community to be doing now, being that they have seen Cameroon jump out of the Swiss process, seen Cameroon now jumping out of the Canadian process?
Well, I don't. I think that's a question that Martin would have given us a better answer from his angle as a barrister in these issues. But what I'll tell you is that we are where we are today, 60 years later, and people are talking about Southern Cameroon's issue at the international level. And now we have taken another step because of this Canadian issue to be placed as players on the world stage. We have been given a platform. The only thing the international community would ever do, because like Martin said, they see it as an internal problem. No matter how much Ambazonia we sing around, they see it as an internal problem to be resolved by us being together and maybe changing structures and all that kind of stuff. It is up to us as Ambazonians to organize ourselves and force the hands of the international community. They are never, I agree with Martin, they are never going to have this discussion on the basis that they are going to make a decision to separate us. They are going to see it as an internal problem. Even if you see the wordings coming from Canada, I have no problem about that. But for the fact that Canada coming in, a letter coming from Canada, meets some of the conditions that we were given about how negotiations should take place. It was not in Yaoundé, it was not in Buea. It was in a different neutral ground. Let's just take that this is a true thing that was happening. This is the first step. Like Martin is saying, we are going to try. We are going to have missteps. We're going to be hit hard. It's up to us. And we are the ones who mess up ourselves very much. Like, Comrade Chris, let's be honest. Let's not come here and be wasting our time and other people's time. Let's talk about our own problems. Let's not be pointing fingers out there. And Martin just sat here now and talked about a letter that he validates to be the right approach from the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, right? Martin,
Yes.
Did you say that? Which you think was the right approach?
Yeah, I said that we were supposed to write a note verbal to the Canadian government, which I think it has been done.
Which Republic of Ambazonia and which president did that are you talking about? Because we are sitting here talking to another man, our host here, who is the president of another Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Which is the president who said that? Let's talk about that.
Honest, I've seen
dancing around. This is
Sisiko, you know, they just call me a comrade like every other person out there, just like you. So those big titles, I think when we get to Buea, we will have to validate them. But until then, we are all comrades.
Sisiko, you know, they just call me a comrade like every other person out there. Just
Martin, I need you to
yeah?
talk. Because we are coming here, you are already giving me vibes that you belong maybe to Sako's camp, right?
What Sako's camp?
Which other president, which other republic are you talking about?
I don't know, Christian Ebini. I've seen a letter. I've seen a
Please,
letter. You've been talking. Let me talk. I've seen a letter that Marianta wrote to Canada, where she saying
oh,
that she's
that one.
is
Okay,
the
okay,
international president. I've seen
okay.
a sorry. Let
No, I
me
say no.
finish
I'm just
now.
agreeing with
I've
what
seen a
Ken.
letter that I've seen two letters that Marianta wrote to Canada, where she's calling it instrument, and she's published those letters. And then I'm saying that we were to send a note verbal. Also, I've seen also a note verbal that has been sent also by Ambazonian Republic. So there are different things. People are doing the thing. Some of them they do the right. I don't know whether they're right people, but some of them are doing the right thing. A foreign minister talks, another state sends a note verbal, which is a document that is accepted in international law. They do that and in international diplomacy. So the things are there. Marianta is writing. I don't want us to go into our own issue of six presidents and the rest. That is not the
We
subject of
should,
this
we should,
discussion.
we
Let's
should,
All
do
right,
that
all
one
right,
we
out
all
should.
right,
somewhere.
all
We are
right,
talking about the Republic here.
comrade. Let me bring in Dr. Atienjo to add his voice to this before we move to the next subject. Dr. Atienjo, we've been talking here about the letter in Cameroon debunking their involvement or engagement in the Canadian process. You probably saw and read the letter from Cameroon that says they did not contract with anybody, either internally or externally, to mediate this conflict. And we are wondering, what should we be expecting from the international community today?
Okay, thank you, Comrade Chris. I'm delighted to be here today, and my greetings to the panelists today. You've been awesome. Discussion is very rich, and I really benefit from your wisdom in whatever you were saying. Well, about the letter that was written by La République, this shows that the government, Cameroon government, is a failed state, a government in which the prime minister is paddling the boat to the right, and then some other ministers who click themselves to be the untouchables are paddling the boat to the other side. So you could see the way the whole system is divided. Yes, I agree with Barrister Tumetang for what he said about the international law, that there was supposed to have been some document from the presidency of La Republique to Canada to actually validate that those talks were kind of credible. But whatever the case, I understand that the Canadians got into this genuinely to see how they could come between La Republique and the Ambazonian struggle. But one thing that is very, very clear is that the Cameroonians, as we say it, they have picked the ball and run away. That is always the case with La Republique. The same thing they did for the Swiss talk. They picked the ball and ran away. Now they have picked the ball and they have run away again during these talks. But what do we expect from the international community? We expect the international community to beat the drums as it is supposed to be. Yes, I heard your earlier statement, which you stated that everybody is beating the drums for the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are not more human than Ambazonians who are killed every day. Yes, it is time for the international community to speak frankly to La Republic to condemn this act of cowardice by La Republic, because they've been doing this, playing games for over 6 years, thinking that the Ambazonian struggle was going to die naturally for them to continue doing whatever they're doing. But I believe that the time has come for the international community to mount pressure on them to understand what it means people suffering. The people of Ambazonia suffering is the same as the Ukrainians are suffering and the same as other parts of the world. So it is high time for the African Union, it is high time for the UN, it's high time for the United States, as well as other stakeholders, including the British, the French, and the Canadians, to join hands and see that they mount pressure on this rook regime of La République du Cameroun to succumb to international law. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well put, and we are hoping that the this international community guys are listening to us, and that they will actually do something that forces Cameroon to act like a country that respect international engagements. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a short break out. And when I come back, we're going to talk about the expectations from Ambazonian leaders. The talk has been out there. Everybody wants to see what Ambazonian leaders are up to. What should we be doing at this moment? When I come back. Thanks for staying put, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, I am going to take you into the very next important segment of this show that has to do with the position of Ambazonian leaders in this conflict at this moment vis-a-vis the Swiss, the Canadian process. Every Ambazonian out there wants to see Ambazonian leaders come together. Would they? Would they? In the spirit of the message of unity and collaboration that yours truly presented to the Ambazonian public last Monday regarding the need and the urgency for Ambazonia to organize, shun partisanship, constitute a common front, and draw our own agenda for engaging in any negotiations, be they in Canada or elsewhere. I reach out to some of the leaders of this struggle to impress upon them the urgency of the task. I am excited to say today I had a very frantic, exciting, and promising conversation with AGOVC leader Dr. Cho Ayaba. Dr. Ayaba went far and beyond to agree that Ambazonia should not go into any negotiations as individual groups. We have to constitute a team of experts sent to the negotiations. The leaders form a leadership council, stay behind to give counsel to the team of negotiators. We agreed that a meeting of all the leaders is very urgent, and we are looking forward to summoning one in the days ahead. But every Ambazonian, being a stakeholder in this struggle, has a role to play here. It is incumbent upon you all to put in the necessary pressure towards ensuring that no one group, not even this interim government, thinks it can go and represent or sign any peace deal on behalf of Ambazonia. This is very crucial. Cameroon understands very well the game of divide, conquer, and rule. If we allow independent groups to go sitting in any process, money will flow, money will change hands, and your guess of the outcome will be as good as mine. Let's be wise. Now is the time to watch out for any group or any leader who wants to go sit in that process on the name of Ambazonia on the name of his group. That will never be accepted. But the good news I bring to you is that I see a lot of goodwill among the leaders in this subject. And I'm really hoping that such goodwill will translate to action for Ambazonia, to see and be proud of all our leaders. That said, let me state this in the strongest terms possible. While I was preparing to come live, a statement signed by Sisiko Ayoktabe and circulated by Comrade Dabne Yerima was forwarded to me announcing that Sisiko Ayoktabe has appointed former United States diplomat Ambassador Heyman Cohen to be Ambazonia's chief negotiator. Sisiko has appointed him to be our negotiator. Before coming live, I tried to reach Comrade Yerima to no avail. I would like to make it very clear, as I did few years ago, that a person who is under incarceration and doesn't have his freedoms cannot and should not be in the position to make decisions for those who are free. It doesn't make sense that someone in the confinement of Cameroon is rushing to choose for us who should be our chief negotiator. The sacrifices of Ayoktabe and all the other comrades in prison are enormous. We all know that. But so too are the sacrifices of those outside who have kept the fight on while they are locked up for no fault of their own. But that does not give any leader, it should not give any leader whatsoever, the privilege of a unilateral decision for Ambazonia as far as the negotiation process is concerned. Ambassador Cohen cannot be Ambazonia's chief negotiator. It is dead on arrival. 2 reasons. Mr. Cohen has never for once advocated for a free and independent Southern Cameroon throughout the 6 years of this conflict. He has never believed in an independent Ambazonia. His tweets and statements are available online for free research. Ambassador Cohen has consistently preached a federal Cameroon of which Ambazonia must be part. He believes Ambazonia cannot and should not be an independent country on its own. But more importantly, all Ambazonian leaders will have to sit in concert to choose who becomes their chief negotiator, and not someone appointment. I hope that other leaders will join me in asking Sisiko Ayoktabe to humbly withdraw that statement and join other leaders to concert and make the choice for who becomes our chief negotiator. As far as our side is concerned, I can assure everyone that this process will not be teleguided or remote controlled by anyone or by any group. Of course not. Sisiko Ayoktabe, Sisiko, I'm sorry, Ebene, I will start with you, sir. Again, I had a conversation with Comrade Ayaba yesterday, and he was very excited about the proposition for a one and united Ambazonian team that goes to any negotiations, not just Canada, but anyone elsewhere. Tell me, is it not the right thing to do, Sisiko?
The right thing to do what? Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad we are here and we are beginning the process of reversing a lot of things. I have not seen the document you're talking about coming from Sisiko, but before I say something, we have had a lot of problems in the past that led to a lot of reach and other things coming, especially you, a great actor in it. Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that Sisiko Ayoktabe is compromised?
You are diverting here, Sisiko.
I'm not.
Hold on.
Do you believe that
we will get there.
Ayoktabe
We will get there, but let's dwell on the subject first. Let's dwell on the subject. What is your opinion about the idea that all Ambazonian leaders come together, put on a unique team of negotiators that represent Ambazonia in the place of groups going there on their own?
I agree with that model, and I think I've been advocating for that model. And then what I'll add to it too, that you as one of the frontline leaders, I mean, you are one of the presidents, if you see something that is wrong with one of your compatriots, the first place where you should rush and discuss that should not be on the air. You guys should have a working relationship in the way that you solve your own internal problems as leaders. Because when you bring it out here, it's grandstanding and it's inciting other people to rise up and make the divide amongst us bigger. You just got that document. Many of us have not seen it. I've not spoken to Yerima. I've not spoken to any of those people you are saying. I'm hearing it from the first time. But you as a leader, as we are trying to bring ourselves together and to be one, we should stop these games. When you find something wrong, if Sisiko or Yerima sees something wrong about you, you guys discuss in the background first. The first place to run
Sisiko, I get your point. I get your point. But listen, I think what is grandstanding is putting out such a statement and circulating it without the least idea that maybe I could consult with the other leaders out there. The statement is out there. Go to Yerima's tweet or Facebook wall. You will see it. And I have said here that I made frantic efforts to reach him before this show. I couldn't. But I think what you should be saying is they should have consulted with every other leader before putting out such a statement. Do you agree that somebody should sit in jail and appoint who negotiate for Ambazonia?
I am also telling you not to be rushing always to say it on the air. I have said that if they have done such a thing, I think it is not the right model with what we are going through with a lot of division amongst us. The leaders should work together. Whether it's whoever leader, let them work together. Let's have one team. If you guys are going to have somebody to represent, all of you should discuss it and agree on it.
That is my point. That is exactly my point. That is exactly my point. But listen, there are certain things, when things have been put in the public domain, you cannot say, go talk to them, because it was their duty to do consultations before putting out such a statement, which is very destructive.
Even so, Comrade Chris, you too can manage it in the interest of Ambazonian unity. Even when you see it there, you can manage it too. Don't take and inflame it further.
No, this is not inflammation. We're just making a point. Remember that we also are responsible to some people. We have to speak up. But let me get to Dr.
But
Atienjo, to
you get
give
my
us
point,
your
right, Comrade
position
Chris?
on
You
this.
get my
Dr.
point, what I'm
Atienjo,
telling you.
again, we want to make sure that all the leaders come together and we decide as a team. But at the same time, we see this later emerging from Kondenge, where this former American diplomat who has never endorsed the idea of a free and independent Ambazonia being appointed by somebody as the chief negotiator, not just a negotiator. If he were just a member of the team, I wouldn't mind. But making him the chief negotiator, something is very much fundamentally wrong with that.
Yes,
Dr.
yes, Comrade Chris, I can see that it is with dismay that this kind of letter is being circulated out there to appoint somebody. And I'm one of those that would really solicit for a united front in any negotiation. Remember, one thing that Ambazonians, the mistake Ambazonians are making is that we think about ourselves and think about positions, think about leadership positions without thinking about an idea which is going to liberate the entire Ambazonians. The idea of negotiation is what we should unite around. The idea of forming a united front is what we should unite around. It's not about the idea of an individual standing as the leader for us to unite around them. Leaders will fail us, but ideas is what we really need, because this is about Ambazonians, it's about the our suffering people, refugees in ground one, internally displaced at home, and also those in prisons. So, yes, I am positively behind the leaders to come together to concert and come up with a negotiation team of experts, and then they can give their own advice, counsel from the background on how things should be done. And if they are choosing anybody to represent us as the chief negotiator, it should be the idea, it should be the opinion of everybody. There should be a consensus on this idea. Yes, or there should be a consensus on this choice of anyone who should stand for the Ambazonian people. So we are open, and I believe that it will be it will be um, it will be paramount for us to sit down as leaders. Let us come down from our high horses, congregate, talk about the interests of the Ambazonian people, and then when we put the interests of the Ambazonian people first, then we'll be able to think rightly in order to work as a team to see that we get to the victory position. So it is not about an individual, it is about the Ambazonian people. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister Thomas Sankle. Let me give you the chance to respond to this.
Your voice. You're muted. You're
Barrister
muted.
Thomas, it doesn't appear like your microphone is turned on. Your microphone doesn't appear like it is turned on. All right, while you are doing that, let me get back to Sisiko Ebeni here.
Yes, sir. What do you say?
Yes, while he is trying to get his camera and microphone working, let me come back to you on this very subject. And you asked whether Sisiko was compromised or not. I like to answer.
No, what do you believe?
That
What do you
question.
believe
I
he
like
was
to
compromised?
answer that question because many people believe that I was at the center of everything. I am one person in this thing who like to call things the way I see them, and you may like me or hate me. This is not a beauty contest where I hope to win anything. I just say it the way that it is. Was Sisiko compromised? Then we'll believe he was. Let me explain why. When you have your chief attorney who is defending you, I'm referring here to Barrister John Fruinso, come out and say that my client is compromised. He is holding secret meetings with Cameroon agents, and he actually pulled away from his defense. And he is saying this to the interim government that is paying the bills for his client, and as the spokesperson of that interim government. What was I supposed to say? I had to take the message of the interim government to Ambazonians. So that is what we believe then. Now, if you ask me about that today, as you have done, I will say, compromise. I think then it depends on the perspective, because if he was compromised in the way that John Frunso put it out, I think a lot of people wouldn't still be holding him behind bars. He would have been a free man today. They would have released him essentially. So we learn as we go in this process, and we do things as the times bring to us. That is what I would say, Sisiko.
Comrade Chris, we want Ambazonian, and we want to sacrifice everything for that Ambazonian. Let's stop playing games as if our people are stupid. Tell me if you know that Sisiko is not compromised, say that he's not compromised, and apologize for saying that he was compromised. It's that simple.
Sisiko, I guess you understand this is not an interrogation. You know that. I have made my point, and I said at the time, at that moment, yes, his attorney, his defender said he was. And I reported exactly what the information then was. And I have said, if indeed he was compromised, then he shouldn't still be behind bars today. Doesn't that make sense to you?
So he was not compromised. When you said he was compromised, he was not compromised.
Well, that is your position. Then let me get back to Barrister Martin. I hope he is back. Unfortunately, he is not back yet. But Dr. Atienjo, let me get back to you on this question of compromise. You have been part of this interim government for all these years. We were told that Sisiku was compromised.
Yes. No, you are not wrong. That is when we were with Sako, and the chief legal person who was following up with the case of Seseko convinced everybody with even information about a check that was signed to Seseko, and he saw it. This was really, really very, very traumatic to us, because there was no way. And if you are in a government like that, you would see that somebody who has been the lead lawyer of Seseko saying this, there was no other source that we could think of to debunk whatever he said. So any idea or any opinion that was expressed at that time was due to the information that was actually received from Barrister. But I would like to say here that yes, Seseko was not compromised. He has not been compromised. But based on information that was existing at that moment, some people were of the opinion that yes, he was compromised. But on behalf of those who heard, who could have believed what the lies of Barrister, so I think that Siseko would find it to understand at least the dispensation at that time prompted or pushed people to have that belief. But we today are able to see it that based on his dubious activities within the IG, I mean Barrister so this has actually vindicated Sisiko from all the opinions, the negative opinion, negative energy that was around about him being compromised. My final word is
that? Do you regret that?
Thank you.
Do you regret it? Do you regret that you believe such lies?
Sisiko Ebene, I will answer that question, and I will say that again, we are not in the court of law. Tell anybody here watching. There are millions watching you on ground zero. And here there are hundreds watching you, thousands watching you on the social media. This is no interrogation, sir. And I don't know where you are driving to with this question of compromise or no compromise. Are you still hoping that Sisiko is brought back to be the president of the interim government?
Should I answer that?
Yes, sir.
This is what I know. This is the way I see things. As long as anyone makes sacrifices in this revolution and is held by the enemy, that person becomes our full responsibility to protect them, especially emotionally and mentally, and not to inflict pain on them. Whether Sisiko, I don't know if Sisiko was out here, he would have still performed as well as I knew him to be performing before he went to prison. I don't know. I am not also one who would say that any one of us, whether it be the best president or Sisiko, should be governing from the enemy captivity. So there are things that I will not say that if he comes out now because I support him, he might automatically be the one to be the president. That would depend on the situation and the Ambazonian people. But I know that for the short time that I knew him, he did a lot for the struggle that many of us who stayed decades in the revolution could not do for the short few months, just that September month to December. He did a lot for the revolution. Is he perfect? No. Everybody has their own problem. But I think I never trusted Tasang, even when he was still with the consortium. But when Tasang went to prison and was under enemy captivity, no matter what he did from that prison, I would not really go out and be castigating Tasang. Never. He's my responsibility. It's our responsibility until he comes out. About them coming and being president, that's not for me to decide. I know that I will still support Sisiko if he comes out, and then I'll have to assess to see if he's still the same person. He can still be the same person, whether he still has the same capability of being a leader. That would depend at the time, and it would depend to not on me, but on the Ambazonian people. But for now, I am just saying that it is evil and wrong for idiots to be out here and do the things that they have done to him in prison all this while, in the point that they divided them, even inside enemies' prison. Brothers could not get along because of idiots out here, criminals, who were making them to fight themselves. And then these 10 people who left Nigeria are one of the most successful people in our midst in every aspect of life.
All right, Sisiko, I hear you, but I will respectfully, very much disagree with you from this perspective. Sisiko, they have paid a price. Sisiko, they and others have paid a price by being abducted and put up behind bars. It's a huge sacrifice that they are paying out there, remaining behind bars, being deprived of their families. But you will also agree with me that lots of us who are still free, who are still out here, have had to gone through maybe even much more sacrifice than those in jail have gone through. I am seated here, I have lost my brother, I have lost almost everything, yet I have been called names, called compromise. The same person that I serve said I was compromised by La République du Cameroon. I should run around begging them to apologize to me. That is chickening. We should stop asking for apologies and start telling Ambazonians how we can move on. If you are asking for an apology, everybody has to ask for an apology. We have to ask Sisiko, what meeting was he attending in Nigeria? What was it about? We don't know it up to today, 6 years or 5 years after. So please, this idea of apology, let's stop it and focus on moving the struggle forward. hope that makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't know what is happening to the rest of our guests. They all seem to be locked down. But ladies and gentlemen, I am going to open the phone lines. I am going to open the phone lines at this moment. Please stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put in there. And before I go ahead to open the phone lines, let me make this correction. I just received information that the statement I was quoting from Sisiko as having appointed former U.S. diplomat Herman Cohen as chief negotiator for Ambazonia. I have now been told that that statement is quite old. Probably that was done maybe when Sisiko was still out.
2019.
So please, we will move beyond that. We will move on from there. Again, that statement is an old statement. But again, I tried to do due diligence before bringing that statement up. But at least it existed. But again, it is not a current statement. It's an old statement. And of course, let me tender you my apologies for presenting that. But there was no way I was going to know when it was put out without talking to any of them, which I tried to do. So again, that is an old statement. Barrister Martin, you have been having some issues with your camera. I guess you are now back. Let me give you a chance to comment on this issue of the need for an Ambazonian team Ambazonian, not some groups going to any negotiation alone. Your thoughts, sir?
That is the ideal thing to do, and that is what everybody is expected. I don't know, a lot of your viewers might not be familiar with the process of mediation. When you go to mediation, you submit a document which is a mediation statement, which you prepare whatever case you are coming to this meeting. It states both what you want, what your claims are, what your evidence is, what you want, what you are accusing the other person, and what the remedies you are looking for. If you look for like the ones we are talking about, they are all put inside. So Ambazonian would prepare that document. Some people have been working for that document for over 2 years now. So they will have the team will review those documents, and they have one document. It might even be 1,000 pages, which we submit to mediation. It will form the basis of all the discussion. The Republic can submit what they want to submit to show that maybe France gave us as a gift to them, or maybe they are part of Germany. They will come up with their claims against us. So we will put our claims why we believe we are entitled to independence, why we are not part of them, and all that. Prepare the full document and submit. That document is submitted as Ambazonian. With the team, you can form the team, you have politicians, experts, everything. The key thing is what I'm meeting and what can we the story. So we go as a team, constitute ourselves, prepare a document which we submit.
And what do you say about the need for every leader to come together, draw our agenda before the very first meeting, if there will be any, in Canada?
Secretary Chris, this mediation is like a case you are going for in court. A case is not based on the agenda of whatever the party. A case is you prepare your case with your and you people submit it. The mediator will take it and read it. La Republic will read it, and if he has anything to submit, it submit. The mediator reads, you read, and then now from there, now the discussion starts. If he's arguing what you're saying, he should show his evidence and his reasons why he's arguing. So agenda, we are not going to do politics there. We are going to mediate based on the claims we are putting against La Republic that we are not part of their territory. And we have to go our way. That we are a people with an inalienable right to self-determination as determined by the court in Banjul in Communication 266/2003, as the UN has always with us. That inalienable right is, no, you cannot alienate it. Even if we voted in 61 to join them, we still have the right today as a people decide not to associate with them. If the right is inalienable, you can never cancel it. And there is nothing like one and final self-determination. Self-determination can be done so many times. That's why they've had more than one under. That's why Scotland is going for the second referendum. They did their self-determination and they voted to remain with the UK. They are still going for the next one. Each people, once you have that right cannot be extinguished. So what happened in 1961, people are going through history, I don't really care. We as a people today, if we are a people in international law, if we decide that we want to associate with La Republic, that decision in part of a country, let's say the Pygmies in East Cameroon cannot do that because they are part of La Republic to Cameroon from the time of independence. For the Pygmies as a people or whatever, it's for people to do that, then there was something they call the Katanga principles. The Katanga threshold of human rights violation against the Pygmies must be up a certain level where in international law they can allow them to do external self-determination. Otherwise, they can only self-determine within Cameroon. But for us, we're an external party that associated with La Republic to Cameroon. The Katanga principle does not apply to us. If our people as a people decide today that whatever our fathers did in 1901 or whatever, we are not interested. Today, we don't want them. So people, we have the right at any point in time, repeatedly, to keep determining our political path and our economic path. So we would go with a strong document. It's not low. We're not just going there like we've been preparing this thing for almost 2 years now. So we are going to fight there with the negotiation. It's not a joke. People think it's just a joke. Anybody political you want, you just jump on the dance floor in nation.
Sisiko, what do you make of the letter of the bishops in Ambazonia to the Cameroon government?
I saw the the letter and I've shared it. I just came through it. I did not write it. I did not read it entirely, but I could think the spirit of it was endorsing the Canadian process and trying to plead about over the sufferings of the people all these 6 years that peace should be the path. I, if you read it, you can give me a clue of what was in it. I shared it, but I didn't have time to read it. I just saw it today. And Comrade Chris, let me say that is the right spirit and that is a strength. It's not a weakness, because I was just going to tell you that somebody sent me the correction of that document, and you made the correction. That's the spirit, little by little, that we should be planting in our community and amongst ourselves. If you commit an error or you make a mistake, you correct it. It's for the general good. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. That is what we should be doing. I have never set out here to send out any misinformation. Uh, what I read, though, that surprised me in the bishop's letter is the fact that uh, they are still unable to call on Cameroon to say, hey, withdraw the troops from the streets and from Ambazonian. In Ambazonian fighters, we have nobody to fight. They keep on generalizing. In fact, most of the appeal is rather to Ambazonian fighters and not to the people who have invaded the territory and are maiming people, burning down towns and villages, and killing the people. The bishops are so naive to think that Ambazonia should just lay down arms and let Cameroon continue with the one Cameroon agenda. That's what I found there a little bit disturbing.
Yeah, that would be a common tune of the church people. They try to play a little bit of should I say the diplomacy of the Holy Spirit, and they try not to offend any side. And normally on their efforts of trying to be neutral, they always seem to step on the toes of the victims, without whether they know it or not. But I would say this: we have not been very much in control because of our own nuances and problems. So there's been a vacuum in the fighting that it becomes very difficult for, because our people are suffering, not necessarily only from the hands of the military, but of the rogue elements that have been infiltrated into our fighting forces. So this is why it is imperative that we come together and have a common structure in which there are rules that even me as a citizen must follow. I should not follow the rule of AGOVC because I'm a member of AGOVC. I should not follow the rule of IG because I support the IG. I should follow a common set principle of this revolution that every citizen and every fighter must adhere to. This vacuum of our own infighting has made it possible for criminals and rogue elements to be committing serious atrocities against our own people, that is making them even to turn somehow, maybe even in a minute or so, in their spirit against the whole thing. So we need to come together. It's imperative. And I would say that Martin, you are a prolific writer, and you're right. I've been reading you from the days of Camnet and all the like. Please tweak it, no matter the intellectual arguments, tweak this thing into us coming together. I'm sure that's why you're on this platform today. That's why I sought to be talking to Comrade Chris, that we use this type of platforms to bring our people together. Children will be happy. Chris and I have fought. He said very terrible things about me. I have said some little, not very terrible things about him, some little. But we are here. This is a lesson to the children and our people to see that, hey, we can disagree, we can argue, and we're still together. That's very, very
Absolutely.
important.
We have had our own share of disagreements and fight, but I never shut you off my phone. I still read your messages. You still read my messages. Until last day, we had a beer summit, right? We had our own beer summit in DC.
You want me to call the real place where we went? I know you would not like.
All right. Okay. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will open the phone lines. I will open the phone lines for those of you who are watching and listening from across the globe. Would like to know your take on the happenings of these past days. Number one, the Canadian later acknowledging the role of the mediator in the Canadian process. And 72 hours after Cameroon's position reneging from the process, and of course, what would like to know what you think about this interim government coming out and endorsing the the Canadian initiative. You have the phone line open, and we're waiting for your calls. In the meantime, I like all of you on ground zero to remember lockdown. Lockdown has been announced for February the 10th and the 11th. We are calling this lockdown against we are calling this lockdown against this 11 February celebration that has been put together by La République du Cameroon. We ban those events 20th May, 11th February, and so on. I think about 4 years ago. We are not returning to our vomit. We are not returning to our vomit, and we will never, ladies and gentlemen, we will never go back to celebrating 11th of February, the day they made us slaves of French Cameroon. And so we want everybody on ground zero to take note. February the 10th and the 11th is total lockdown of Ambazonian. If you are a student, your school is forcing you to go out and carry out a march past anywhere in Ambazonia. Tell them over your dead body you are not going to the street to march for La République du Cameroon. And any school, college, secondary school, university that wants to send out students to the street, again, we will shut down that school or college once and for all, indefinitely, until this struggle is over. Children, stay home. Schools, shut your institutions, lock them down on the 10th and the 11th of February. That is the order. That is the order. We will not, La République du Cameroon will not play the music and have us to dance. Those days are gone. All right, let me get to the first caller here. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Yes, so I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Scandinavia. This is Didi.
All right, good to hear your voice, sir. What is in your mind? 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much for the show. It's been a great show with the panelists. One thing I would like to ask this question to Barrister Thomason. Barrister Thomason, as much as you are trying to look for the authenticity, how La République was committed in Canada, can you also tell us the authenticity with which a small, low-level minister like Emmanuel Sadi had to come and declare in the public media that they are not committed? So what makes you feel that his statement is more authentic than the binding statement in Canadian Foreign Office?
All right.
On the last show that you had, where Frank was there, he did mention that Emmanuel Sadi is so controversial, even when he was a junior minister at the Prime Minister's office. And there's a testimony from your monologue that they had to abort the Prime Minister communication with the presidency. That's a testimony that Chairman Frank was right about Emmanuel Sadi. Thank you very much.
All right. Comrade Thomason, please.
Please, a party goes somewhere and signs some document that he is committed. He signed a multilateral document. He goes back home. The spokesperson for that government comes and said, no, we didn't send anybody. We've not engaged any or mandated anybody. Nobody else has come out to contradict what Sadi said. His word now is the final word. Has John Gute come out to say, no, you are wrong, I actually sent some people? So the first statement has been cancelled by the spokesperson of the government. Galas is finished. It's not been anybody. I don't want to waste my time. The government has said, I've not mandated Canada. He didn't say some few guys never went, but I've not mandated Canada. That's the end of the story. So I don't waste my time a bit. Nobody has contradicted what Sadi said. Pobia has not come and said that, no, Sadi is not talking on behalf of me, he's lying. No. So Sadi's statement is the latest one, and that's what we take. Hello? Hello? Is it muted?
Is everybody listening? Comrade Chris.
We can hear you.
Comrade Chris. Are we still on?
Yeah, we are on, but we can't hear Comrade Chris.
I see him moving, but
yeah, so maybe we just keep talking until he gets back instead of just staying. Yeah,
Chris, are you there?
Dr. Ebeni, you have something to chip in.
Well, I think from what you're saying, it is right. You are very correct. If the communication minister is under the prime minister, right? By their setup. Martin, is he not?
No,
Barrister.
keep talking. We are hearing you.
Yeah. So if
yes, I can hear
you. I agree with you that if
now you are muted. Jesus. Dr. Ebini, I can't hear you now. There's something wrong.
Apologize at this moment. Anybody still
I'm sorry, comrade. I'm sorry, my microphone was down. I don't think anybody was hearing you. Can you take it all over again, please?
I was just saying that at this moment we are just looking forward as far as the struggle is concerned. So any person who is still looking behind of our past, that person is not ready for the good of Ambazonian. Is not ready for the unity that we are talking about. I never believe that somebody like Comrade Abina, who is like our father, that can come on air and sit taking us and talking apology. Who should apologize? Who is Ambazonian? They can. I don't know how some people really think, Comrade Chris. This is our father. We respect him so much. These are not things that somebody like him in his capacity to talk about apology. Who should apologize to who? It's only Seseko that is being priced. Me, that my own brother. I've lost 2 of my brothers. Our homes have been burnt. Every day we are contributing money, not only because of our people that have been killed, also to the same Seseko that is in behind, so that the Ambazonian can be free, so that they can free them also. So all if right. He's making mistake, he like our father, he's telling us to begin to apologize. To apologize, you are also sacrificing. You, Comrade Chris, since the beginning of this struggle, you have been coming on air every day. You having sleeps at night to at least just to present something to the poor ambassador to give them hope. That is your sacrifice. We are bound to make mistakes. Seseko have made mistake also. All of us have made mistake. So let him not begin to talk about apology. If they want to talk about apology, Seseko, who is behind bars, supposed to be the one to tell us, to give us to tell the people of Amazon apology for what he has done.
All right. Thank you. I will.
Many of us go. We take days we couldn't eat just because of the news that we got that he has been picked from Nigeria. Up to today, we don't know what take him to Nigeria. Take him to there. So he should. He's our father. He should respect himself. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I will let Sisiko to respond to you. Sisiko, sir.
Well, that is what we are trying to build in the nation, right? Where people have different sentiments, they agree. Uh, it says, like a father, if I'm here talking, it's because I'm talking as a father and I act like a father in this revolution. When all I was trying to get from you about that process, which is a beginning of something for us to move forward, you did it. You said the information that you had at that time. I did not force anybody to apologize. It would have been. It would be good even if people apologize, but I didn't force anybody to apologize. It's not a wrong thing to apologize when something is done wrong. But I do agree that all of us are hurting from this revolution, and we get impacted in different ways. And for my own sentiments, I cannot minimize another person's pain. All of us are hurting. Those in prison, those outside of prison, and all that kind of stuff. But we just have some responsibility because we are out here in some little bit of freedom to watch out for those, especially who don't have any freedom who are in prison. So I'm not forcing anyone to apologize. This our talk here with Martin and everybody has been productive, I believe, because we have touched on things that maybe we were avoiding from touching in the past. So I feel the sentiments of the young man, and sometimes too. Also, even when your father is wrong, you should know the way you talk to your father. Don't if you want you see me as a father, even when I make my own mistake too, you should correct me. I didn't make any mistake. I didn't ask anybody for apologize. I just asked what are the
Well,
regrets.
let's leave it there. Let's not litigate that. The person got what you said, and let's leave it there. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir, Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Mizam.
All right, and what is in your mind?
Yes. I just want to thank you guys in the studio. Thank our fathers that are giving us advice for the way forward. And I want to contribute that that should be the spirit. Let's see how to gather all the leaders and have a team, just like you have said, and see what the way forward looks like. Because we don't know what will come next after Canada. So let's be prepared for anything, anytime. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. You remain safe, sir. Let's get to the next caller, ground zero. Hello.
Evening, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Well, it's this script, but I'm from Cameroon. I don't want to disclose my location because I am like in the mouth of the lion.
All right.
You understand?
Okay, go on, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
is your mind?
I'm watching you live now. Yeah. So I'm so impressed that this program has come up. It is like the open that we do that it should come and give that unity that we need to push this revolution forward, rather than fighting amongst ourselves. So we err to bless this woman and to forgive is divine. Every one of the country has got its own bit of participation, losses and gains. So let us leave about the big thing around the world and focus center stage on this new program that I just found. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, we had some difficulties understanding you because of the poor network. Thank you for the call. Okay. Hello.
Comrade Chris, I'll tell you in the background the person who is talking.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you, sir. Can you raise your voice a little bit?
Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go on. Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Hello?
We'll move on to the next caller. I think we lost that caller. All right, the phone line is open, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and make your calls. Let me get to this caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you 515.
Oh yeah. Again, Comrade Chris, I want to applaud you. Applaud Sekeko Ebini, and I also want to thank Dr. Tianjo and our barrister for always being there for us. I want to give special thanks again to Sekeko Ebini. This is the spirit all Ambazonians want. We want to see you guys together.
Where are you calling from, sir?
Oh, I'm calling from Maryland. Sebastian Barreco is my name.
Okay,
I'm sorry I did not introduce my name.
Yes.
Yes. So I have a question for Sekeko Ebini. Do you want to bring Ayabacho to this show if you have probably the chance to? Can you invite him to come to this show too? And the second question for Sekeko Ebini is not really a question, but it is a remark. I know your capability of raising funds for the refugees. I will not say a remark, but an appeal. Is there a way for you to help raise funds? We have fundraiser this Sunday. Is there a way for you to help us raise some funds for refugees this Sunday? We will applaud your efforts, sir. Again, I want to thank you for coming to this show, and again, I thank you for the collaboration that you are trying to bring. I remember you and Comrade Chris, you always been like kerosene and fire, but it's a very good thing two of you can sit on the same platform and share ideas. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Unfortunately, I think he's having technical issues with his connection, but when he is back, I will get him answer the question. In the meantime, let me take the next caller. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Maryland.
All right. And what is your contribution?
Yes. Thank you, Comrade Chris. And thank you to all the panelists. You've had a very intelligent conversation today. Can you hear me?
515.
Okay. So I just want to make a few observations. First, I want to thank Comrade Ebini. I have known him to be a very controversial person, but for the first time, I tend to agree with him for most of the issues that most of the observations that he made today, especially when it concerns us coming to air to persecute our own. I just think that we can hold those conversations in the background. Let me tell you, La Republic is listening to us. They listen to us every day. Right now that you're on the air, they have people who are listening to us, and they are taking notes, and they are going back to plan their reaction on what we are doing. Secondly, I listened to the barrister very carefully. He made some very good contributions. His contributions were very intelligent, very professional. We may be reacting to it with what is the moral opinion of what should have happened. But if that is not the legal path that we were supposed to take, or that La Republique took the correct legal path, down to morality. So I want to think that it is good that we listen to some of these intellectuals talking to us, who are talking to us from a very professional point. The other thing is that, why are we doing so? La Republique is an organized government. They have institutions that can handle almost every aspect of the issues that we are facing. We are scattered all over the place, and we are bringing all our mess to social media. And that is where they are getting a lot of us. They are planning us. Before La Republique went to Canada, they knew that they were not going anywhere. You can look at the low level of representatives that they sent there.
Right.
And they knew the loopholes. They knew that at this point we'll get out. I personally believe that they thought we were not going to come. But surprisingly, we came. But even when they thought so, they knew that if we come, this is yet plan B. But the overall cry out there, Secretary Chris, I want you to listen, is the fact that we need to form a team. That team should not be IG1, IG2, Ayaba, or this. Or IG1 or IG2 send a representative. that team should be considered an Ambazonian team. Whether they belong to IG1 or IG2 should be irrelevant. Because if we have this team in place, some of the sloppiness that we're experiencing now, we will not have them. If we put that team in place, we'll be able to organize, we'll be able to look at how we can respond to issues, how we can do it. We are making a lot of rights. So the Chris team will make some errors, make some right. So Ayaba will make some errors, make some right. But if we came together, we'll be able to constitute a team that can respond appropriately and professionally. So I really think that we should listen.
All right. All right, thank you.
Let me just make the last point.
Bravely, please.
My last point I wanted to make is this is an opportunity for us to take and run. In spite of La Republic running away, we have an opportunity to come together, and the international community is now, or they have an opportunity to speak in our favor or to see something positive on our own side. So thank you. We look forward to seeing that thing in some in the shortest time possible.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. All right. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call.
Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. I greet you.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Poland.
From Poland. Okay. What is in your mind, sir?
Yes, Secretary Chris. Yeah, I used to hear about Barrister Siseko Ebini, but today is my first time to actually see his face. And as a previous caller said, I used to know him as a controversial person, but listening to him today, at least, I was so excited. He made a number of points that they are really fruitful if we look forward to that. Forming this team for negotiation is the highest thing Ambazonians are looking forward to right now. And there's one thing I used to ask myself: leaders. If you reason like leader, just a simple peaceful talk or collaboration within leaders, they will be surprised with the support from Ambazonians. They will be it will just be like a miracle or a magic. They will be surprised with contributions and everything. As long as Ambazonians see their leaders talking to each other, it means a lot. And I think this is the time to cross that bridge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. The phone line is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and call. Dr. Ibini, did you hear those callers making references to you? They said, I think two of them said, they always knew you as a very controversial person, but today you were a little bit different. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who thought you were controversial.
Who sold me like that to them, man? I've never been a controversial person. I'm just outspoken person. I'm not a controversial person. I'm a very sweet, understanding human being. I don't have and this revolution has been my all my adult life, so it comes natural to me. On the issue, Comrade Chris, can you hear me? Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay. I had somebody, I think it's Sebastian, ask about an Ayaba, right?
Yes.
Ayaba has always been my boy until he was not for a brief while. But as we are coming back now, we have to work with everybody. We had a little disagreement some time ago, but well,
You know, you
I
always
was.
have disagreement with everybody. You
Uh,
know that, right?
of course, in this revolution, if you are active, you would have some disagreement with a lot of people who do wrong things. You know.
All
So, but
right.
what I was trying to say, what I'm trying to say is that somebody of AGOPC before we're coming on air, sent me a a question that I should ask you whether you are going to apologize to AGOPC for some of the lies you told about them. I don't know. I have nothing to do with it. He just sent it, and I said I should do him the honor of saying it to you. You don't have to answer, but at least I'll go up with the pride and tell him that I did mention
Well, you know, I am not here to answer questions. I'm here to ask questions.
it.
So that is what I
Okay,
do here.
but
But thanks for
I
that
did.
anyway. Hello. 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 Okay, I can't get that caller. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, I can get you, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Australia.
Okay, and what is your question or opinion?
I'm really, really, thank you very much for your panel today. I just like to applaud Comrade Beanie for coming on the show. After just listening to him today, I feel very humble, and I feel like this is an opportunity for me to say, just to greet you, brother. I think I've known you, I've seen you evolve in this revolution in the early days of Siseko, and when I saw you come on the show, I wanted to ask you just one question. Is there a way that you can just bring back that energy that you used to have back now? Forget about the fact that Siseko, whom you valued a lot, is incarcerated. Is there a way you can bring back that vibe, that energy that you do carry, and come to a fundraising that's called by anyone? Let's say the fundraising that's coming on Sunday, because someone told me at this some research, they told me you're very good, you know a lot of people, you're very talented. Is there a way you can show up to a fundraising called upon by Comrade Chris? Would you do that in the future? So that's just a question.
No, he will do that this
Yeah.
Sunday. As he will
Can I,
cease being my
let me
friend if he
answer that.
doesn't show up on Sunday.
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
All right, thank
Can
you.
let him to answer,
Thank you.
please?
Thank you. He is answering you. Listen to him.
Of course, definitely. There will be a time when we'll be doing those things and would bring back energy
Hold the line. Hold
in
the
all
line.
of us. In all of us. Uh,
Hold the line.
should I continue?
Yes, go on, please.
This Sunday, it would be really very naive for me to say that I will be involved this Sunday because first of all, part of the problems why we lost our track in raising money, it was due to us not having a trusted system of transparency and accountability. And when, as Chris is doing, he's on a good path now. He's bringing us together. He's talking. I just turn on my phone and I'm reading people who are watching, people who really did not want to see Chris. They are writing very positive things just because of this initiative that you are doing. So if you move forward and rebuild that trust, and you put a system of accountability and transparency, that when we raise money, our donors will be satisfied with the way the money is channeled. Of course, I'll put my all and all for us to raise money in the future. No problem together.
Hold the line. Hold the line. Well, Sisiko, Ebony, I think many people make lots of excuses with, oh, transparency, this and that, this and that. You are an adult to understand that this government that we call interim government, we are not a government like any other government. We don't have a police force. We don't have a justice department with which we can hold people accountable for their deeds. But you will agree that I am one person who have called out every form of mismanagement from my trip to Boya to the drafts up to today. So if we let Ambazonia go, you don't want to support it because Some people have run away with our money. Maranta was here. Would you believe we are still asking her to remit $70,000 into the account of this interim government? $70,000. $70,000. Imagine what that money can do. She's still keeping it. Sako tried to run away with over $100,000. Thank God the court came in and that money is back into our pocket. Comrade, when we're saying that people mismanage, and that is the reason we are taking out leaders. And people still go out there and try to endorse corrupt leaders and fraudulent leaders. And they want Chris Anu to believe that Chris Anu is a problem. Chris Anu is a problem. Again, I am not here for a beauty contest. I will say it the way I see it. If you don't like it, well, it's too bad. But I am glad you will come in to assist in these fundraisers. It is not about Chris Anu. If Chris Anu embezzles anything, hold me to account. But let's not dump the misdeeds of others on the struggle and on Chris Anu. Thank you. Let me get to the next caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hello. Good evening, President Chris.
Good evening, sir. I thought you called before. Where are you calling from?
No, I'm calling from down zero, sir.
All right, shut down the volume of your TV, sir. There's a lot of fidgeting in your background.
Okay, sir. Let me do that.
All right, go on. Go on. What is in your mind?
Yes, sir. We are good to go.
Go on.
Okay. Mr. President, I just want to say I congratulate each and every one of you outside there who are working day in and out to see that we effectually gain this independence. And I want to say that please, you guys outside there, you the diaspora should know that we are dying back here at home. Talking to you now, I'm in a foreign land, an IDP. I don't know when I'm going to go home. And we are dying, my brothers are dying outside there. And I think that unity is the best thing that you people should champion outside there. We are hoping and we are counting on you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. We can only do our best. Thanks, sir, for the call. All right. Let me get to the next caller here. Hello.
Yes, Comrade Chris. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to Comrade Christmas Ibini, Ambassador Tumasa, and Dr. Chanjo and all Ambazonians.
Thank you, sir.
Comrade Chris, I want to make sure. Yes,
you are calling from California, right? This is Dr. Ngwambe?
Yep. Yes, this is Dr. Ngwambe calling from the sunny state of California.
All right.
I want to make sure, Comrade Chris, that I appreciate you and Comrade Dr. Yabacho for having the background discussion that you are having. I'm sure that both of you know that it takes leadership sometimes to buck and go ahead against some of maybe the hardliners that support you so much because they are telling you that you should not find a way to collaborate because of past grievances. But it takes leadership to be able to say, you know what, for the sake of my country, for the sake of my nation, I am willing to collaborate with those who I may have ideological differences with and other principal differences with. I want to put out there, if I'm remembering and understanding United States history correct, there were great slave fighters, enslaved African fighters in George Washington's army of the United States 13 colonies. But the southern states who were doing slavery, they were worried that those slaves may end up being granted freedom. So what did George Washington do? In order to secure the independence of the 13 colonies from Britain, George Washington said, we're no longer going to use enslaved Africans in our fighting force just so we can keep the southern states as a part of the Continental Army so that we can win against Britain. So my fellow Ambazonians, for the sake of us getting our country, sometimes we have to make those hard decisions and make some compromises with each other who are pro-independence Ambazonians and get our country first, and then we figure it out afterwards.
All right.
So, Comrade Chris, thank you for that. And Dr. Yabacho, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Barrister Martin, I'll bring you in here. You've been sitting there a little bit quiet. Please, so if you can bend down your camera a little bit, it's cutting you off. That would be good. Right. Still cutting you off.
Is it?
All right. Go ahead and give us your input on this unity idea, please. Yeah, that is good. Oh no, back. Just sit erect, please. Still cutting your head. All right, that looks good. I'd like you to chip in on this idea about coming together and acting as one, as you can hear the request from every caller out there.
This is an old story today. The issue of unity is impossible in the Ambazonian context. What I believe they are looking for is collaboration. The good job you are doing now, to Ayaba, to the scene, so that out there, when you go to places like this, we can put the united what is everybody is looking for. I think you are on that and you are contacting people. This unity is important, and should not think is something where you go on Sunday, you go on Friday, by Monday you have an agreement, or this thing will take years. Knowing who La Republic is not a small thing, it takes a very long period. Some negotiate, they end the thing, then the international community call them back for round 2, round 3, before at the end they end up coming something tangible. So people should realize this thing is for the long haul. It's not something which you go for a weekend party and do by Monday. So sorry.
All right, absolutely true. This thing we are talking about, that is assuming La Republic is even coming to the table, may take another 5-10 years for this process, a negotiation process, to be over. You never know. It can go that long. But let me get to the next caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Boya.
All right. Good to know. How was Boya today?
Well, Boya is calm, but the Monday goes down, the places were ghosted.
The places were ghosted, where we have to make sure that ghost towns return as they used to be in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, because we need to send that message to a lot of people to come around. Every moment they feel like things are slowing down, they run away with the propaganda, the war is over, and so on, until we show up again. Comrades, everybody, Ambazonians, listen to me. The reason why wars are fought for 20 years, 15 years, 30 years isn't because those wars were fought on a daily basis. There are times you break down and you re-strategize, you recuperate and go back and fight, and that is what is happening in this war. If a lot of people to come around things that we are tired and we are surrendering, we are giving up, they fool themselves. Yes, John Gute and Paul Biya are right. Maybe if they actually said so. There is no military solution to this. We know that too. And that is why we are not running away from any dialogue initiative. What is your contribution, sir?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. What is your contribution?
Yes, I was listening to Capo Daniel this afternoon, and he had a caption on his podcast screen. Chris Anu is begging to join the Canada talks. I was taken aback. Okay. I claim the indulgence of those who talk to Ayabacho to advise his surrogate, Capo Daniel, to know what he says at what time to everybody, because now we are talking about a common team. So, like our fathers are talking there, advising us on what importance the team is to the Ambazonian people. We should now forget our past and look at the future, so that we get what we want soonest. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. You know that when somebody irrelevant makes a statement like that, you respond to it, you make him relevant, so we don't do that here. Thank you for the call. Let's get to the next caller. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Can you raise your voice a little bit? It's quite low.
Yes. So I'm very, very happy for what you people are doing. I'm very happy.
Where are you calling from, sir?
And from Ground Zero.
All right. Yes, go on.
Yes, I'm very happy for what you people are doing. And what I want to say is that what you have to do is to try by all possible means and make all your people that we are working together, as you are already trying it already. But the problem now is, here in Ground Zero, what we are going through here, I want to make us to reach what we are doing today because of this our boys outside there. If they leave this thing has finished. But they are the boys like the boys of Sako. We see what they are doing. Let me tell you something. Do you know that when these people, the guys call whether it's Unity or ADF, when they are coming in town, people are running away more than they run like Republic soldiers. To let you know that that's where you will start. I don't know if you have your own group that are working there. People should start making that they should work, very good work on the field here first before seeing what to do. But you bring a very good idea today of being together, of being as one person.
All right, thank you.
To work this thing.
Thank you. All right. So in the few minutes we are going to call this off. Let me get this. Maybe my last caller from Ground Zero. Hello. Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your TV, sir, and focus on your phone?
Okay. I'll be living close to the TV.
Hello.
Yeah, this is a good evening to you guys.
All right. When you are calling, make sure that the volume of your set is turned down. We can't get your call. We can't get you talking and your phone and your TV talking. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from California.
California. All right. And what is your contribution, sir?
Yeah, my contribution is just an appeal that the money we are contributing, let's distribute the money to people that are very active on the ground. We should not limit it. We should not limit it only to AF. This thing. Look at what Sokadev is doing in Kumba. So even though, we should distribute that money irrespective of the group, so far as they show proof that they are active. That's just my contribution. The money should not be limited only to one particular group.
Absolutely. We here at the interim government, we support every group that proves to us they are fighting. We've been supporting Sokadev in Meme. They know that, they will attest to that. We've been doing that. And when we raise these funds, every group that can prove they are working will be supported. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it a night here, but before I do that, let me bring back Dr. Sisiko Ebini Christmas and Barrister Thomas and Martin to weigh into all the calls and the calls for unity, collaboration, and support for fundraising. Barrister Martin, let me start with you, sir.
To conclude, Comrade Chris, I would want to tell Ambazonians that these Canada talks, I think they should fall behind it. It is in the right track and going, and it seems to be coming together with some unity on our part, which is good. La Republique claiming that they've withdrawn from the talk should not discourage anybody. We already know that La Republique is a contumelous and a contumacious party. They go to the international scene, start acting contra mundum against Canada, and by proxy, all Canadian friends like America and the rest, they are shooting themselves on the foot, and it is working to the advantage of Amba. So it is good. And then Secretary Chris has come out with this fundraiser. To be honest, I think people should come together and try to give him the funds to do what he has promised to do. I think the willingness is there, the spirit is willing, but the flesh needs to be supported with money. I think he's on the right track and he's doing with the unity he's talking about, the fundraising he's doing things, and then talking to his brother Ayaba and the rest. I think we are getting things. It's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, unlike what we had a short while ago. So I will use this opportunity to thank Secretary Chris, thank the other leaders also who are doing the unity, and say let's fall behind Canada and see what happens in Canada. Nobody says the system is perfect. Nobody should get it wrong, not understand. But we are there. We keep moving and we correct the errors as we go ahead. I think that's the spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrister, for that point and for emphasizing on this fundraiser. I appreciate it. Dr. Albini, please.
Well, and Martin, thank you very much for your appearance and your contributions. I know as we talk, I already know you that you are a man on the technical side, and you look at things in the way they're supposed to be, which is a good thing. And I hope that people will tap into your expertise as we move forward in this process, because I've read a lot of your work and all that, and they are very good. Secretary Chris, I see this is just a beginning, and we cannot address everything in just one show. This is what they call good faith. I think we have all presented a place for good faith in our people, how we can proceed. And I thank you for your openness. You willingly took my questions and my concerns, and to the best of your ability, I think you handle things very well. Make many more. We cannot learn the lesson in one show or one day. It's bit by bit we'll get there, like Martin said. Let's do this more. I'll use your platform to say all Ambazonian sons and daughters should be treated with respect, no matter what kind of disagreements we've had. For a little while now, I've not spoken to my son and friend Chua Yaba. I hope he would open his lines now for us to resume our communication like we used to have. Very nice talks. We will talk and mend our little fences for the interest of our people. I have, in the past few days, tried to talk to Dr. Sako, but I would plead that Sako should not be very difficult to get. I mean, it seems as if it's easier for you to get to Paul Biya than you get to Sako. So I'll plead with him to open up, no matter what has been going on. Let us come together. That land, if we don't get together, we will not get it, no matter what we talk to ourselves and the strength that we have. So Canada has challenged us and placed us on a very high platform. And the world is watching us. Let's play this right. Let's put our acts together. Let's keep our egos aside. Let's come together and be brothers and sisters. Even in marriages, we do have problems, even with our own children at home. It doesn't mean that you throw them away. It doesn't mean that you don't belong to the same home. So as a father, I mean, we are, Martin and I are not here seeking for position or anything, but we are with our position not only on our education, but because we are like fathers of of this revolution. Most of the old guys, when they were going, they were telling me that we know that God would still give you some time to be around to guide the children. And that's what I've been trying to do. It has come across like being controversial to some, but I'm very, very honest in what I try to do. There's nobody that I take prisoner. We can fight a little bit, and I'll still try to pick up the phone and call you. For about, I called Dr. Tita and say he should get Sako that I've been trying to get him. He's not answering his phone. I went to Monono. He's one of his lieutenants. And we all should talk to each other. If we don't talk, even if La Republique pulls out of that country, we will not be able to manage it. We might set it ablaze if we don't really try to start learning to know how we can live together as one people, even with all our differences. So thank you again, Comrade Chris. I'm available anytime for us to continue this process. And God bless Amazonia.
Thank you both for making it to the show. Absolutely, the conversation will continue, and you can trust that I will be bringing you back on one of these days. Thank you, and you good night, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. But before I go, I just like again to remind you and emphasize about this fundraiser on Sunday. It is very, very critical that we all show up and support what is going on the ground. Let's give French Cameroon heads up that negotiations or no negotiations, firepower must continue, because that is what will get them doing it right. They are already lamenting that the funds are running dry for them. There is no military solution to the conflict. So please, let's not let this go anywhere. We are winning. And I'd like you to join me on Sunday. Join me on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Join me on Sunday, and let us send that message to La République du Cameroon that Ambazonian does not give up until we take back our country. Now, payments are already being made. You can use the information you find on your screen to make your payment before Sunday. You have Zelle is there on your screen, PayPal is there, Cash App is there. If you are in Europe or in the UK, you also have the different forms of payment in Europe and in the UK on your screen. You cannot say that you didn't have this information. Please take it up, and let us save our country. Let us save our country. Get this information. Let us save our country. So you also have the phone numbers. The phone numbers if you need to call. If you need to call to join the 1,000 club, the 1,000 club, those are the numbers you can call. You can also call my number. As I stated from the beginning, we need, ladies and gentlemen, 20 Ambazonians. 20 Ambazonians who will put down $1,000 each. Who will put down $1,000 each to support this fundraiser on Sunday. You can call me. With the phone number we had on the screen for phone calls. If you call me with that number to say, Comrade Chris, I'd like to be part of this $1,000 club, and you need to know what we are planning to do, I can give you some good information as to the plan that we have here. But please, let us send again a message to Cameroon come this Sunday that Ambazonia is still kicking. The people are still behind the revolution, behind the struggle. Let us do that with our outpouring on Sunday. I'd like to thank you for tuning in tonight. It was a pleasure to be with you. I look forward to being back on the Friday. I believe I should be back on Friday, everything being equal. God bless you all and good night.